Story 1. Weird Al Yankovic. His humor is clean and he never puts others down. He is respectful to other artists and won't parody someone's work without permission. He seems like an overall positive guy. Story 2. Chris Hadfield. He's not just an astronaut. He's a positive, creative, awesome Canadian. My son is obsessed with the International Space Station. He knows every word of the ISS song, and he studied it in school all year. Anytime he plays with Lego now, he builds a version of the International Space Station. So we wrote Colonel Chris Hadfield a message here on Reddit, but considering how busy he is, I didn't expect a response. It was cool just to send the message. But not only did he respond, he sent my son a personalized photograph and message telling him how much he appreciated everything. So now my son thinks his dad is good buddies with an astronaut, which I'm cool with. When I told him that Chris Hadfield was retiring, he looked up at me and said, "How do you know? Did he text you?" Story 3. I can't definitely say there's not been anyone like him, but it would be rare. Is he incredibly good-looking, kind, amazing, able to deflect a steel knife with his sword, use pain from his toe breaking in his acting, write poetry, books, compose music, and know 7 languages? Yes, just perfection. Yes. But what's ignored is how intelligent and perceptive that man is, how he grows, understands things, and makes his own way. Most celebrities, even the good ones, act according to the times they live in, according to public relations and publicity drives. Very few have the courage to stand alone. He does. He was against the Iraq War, supported movements against police before it was fashionable, and just goes to a reservation, sits quietly, and enjoys the culture without making it about himself. He also responds when someone tries to use his character Aragorn for anti-migrant rhetoric. He can see through the system and stand up for his beliefs even if he's the only one. He's unrelenting in his ideas, in his kindness, and in his boldness. This man was giving out free popsicles to working girls just because. Then, decades later, he gifted a horse to a stunt woman because she loved the animal and couldn't afford it. He just gifted it like it was not a big deal without any expectations. He's also the man who will go on a platform and wouldn't choose a popular presidential candidate because their ideals don't match. To be so soft and so strong, it's a rare, rare quality. Story 4. Daniel Radcliffe. I've never been a fan of Harry Potter, but every time I've seen Radcliffe in an interview or doing some documentary, he's always kind and softly spoken. Story 5. Dolly Parton and Keanu Reeves are just universally loved. I'd like to add Jeff Goldblum to that list. Such a goofy, whimsical guy. I don't know how to explain it. Story 6. Hilary Duff. Kick-ass mom. Works hard. Can take a joke. Empowers girls. Has a great sense of humor with her husband. Seems kind and humble. Doesn't talk down on other people. Leads a fairly normal life baking sourdough bread. Laughing with friends. And is real about the hard sides of motherhood, but shows the fulfilling side while chasing after her personal dreams. Girl boss in my opinion. Story 7. Keanu Reeves for sure. The dude's basically the humble king of Hollywood. He doesn't just play a hero. He lives it by donating quietly to charities and being genuinely nice to everyone. Plus, he's proof that you can ride the subway without anyone noticing if you dress in average Joe mode. Story 8. Kate Winslet has talked about the impossible beauty standards that girls and women try to live up to. She has said that she doesn't want to hide her wrinkles and belly rolls because that would not be genuine, and she wants to show people what a real human looks like. I mean, she's gorgeous, of course, but she's not perfect, and I love that she is so confident about it and, well, generous. She seems like a very genuine, nice, and smart person. And she's so talented, obviously. Story 9. Kate Winslet because of everything she said about impossible beauty standards. Emma Thompson for the same reasons. Conan O'Brien because he genuinely seems to work really hard to get where he is and appears to be actually decent. Also, he's referred to as the Muffin Man. Martin Short because he seems decent, caring, and comes across as an actual gentleman, which is rare these days. According to his autobiography, he has worked really hard to get where he is. Also, how much he loved his wife and the fact that his first reported relationship was with a woman not only in the same decade as him but a year older. David Attenborough, There needs to be no reason here. I will truly weep when he dies. Story 10. I'd say Malala Yousafzai got shot in the head for wanting an education, and instead of hiding away, she became the youngest Nobel Prize winner ever. I started thinking about her a lot when I began teaching middle school. That's the kind of courage I want my students to learn about. Story 11. LeBron James went 20+ years being a super athlete who takes care of his body at the highest level and has never been involved in major scandals. The guy has been under the microscope since he was a teenager and has never failed as a character. Story 12. Pedro Pascal, an incredibly talented actor, supports his transgender sister and the LGBTQIA+ community. Co-stars never have a negative thing to say about him. Story 13. I would say Keanu Reeves. He is kind, humble, and generous despite his fame. He treats everyone with respect and sets a great example of how to stay grounded. Story 14. Colin Farrell. His support for Special Olympics. Working actively with the Foundation for Angelman Syndrome, the condition his son has. Starting his own foundation to bring awareness to issues adults with intellectual disabilities face. Running the Dublin Marathon to raise money for a woman with a painful skin disease. Story 15. I'll say one that I haven't seen. Eminem. Maybe in his younger years he did some dumb things, but he's raised his kids right, stays out of the spotlight and all the Hollywood lifestyle, has been clean from drugs for over 13 years, and makes attempts to better himself. Story 16. He's not a major celebrity in the United States, but Anders Danielsen Lai is a Norwegian actor, musician, and medical doctor. Between films, he is a general practitioner who does really impactful work. Story 17. LeBron. He was anointed the chosen one before he ever played a single National Basketball Association game and has had a 21-year controversy-free Hall of Fame career while raising 3 well-behaved kids and staying with his high school sweetheart. People don't realize how rare all of that is for a National Basketball Association star. He's also extremely responsible financially. Story 18. If there were a Power Ranger team of do-good celebrities, Fred Rogers, Bob Ross, Dolly Parton, Betty White, Jimmy Carter, and the Green Ranger Keanu Reeves. Story 19. People have mentioned Steve Irwin. I would add David Attenborough and Brian Cox. Both are very intelligent men who show a lot of respect when articulating complex subjects in layman's terms. Both are kind and gentle characters, very passionate about what they do, and both national treasures. Story 20. I know people dislike billionaires, but Mark Cuban comes across as a very genuine person. As far as I know, he isn't like Jeff Bezos, who built Amazon with questionable labor practices, or Mark Zuckerberg, who profits from selling your data. He also opened an online pharmacy to make drugs more affordable for Americans. Healthcare affordability is one of the most important issues facing Americans right now, and he's trying to help. He didn't have to do this. He could have invested his money in anything else or spent it on whatever he wanted, and no one would have batted an eye. It shows he cares enough to make a difference in the lives of those who can't afford expensive drugs. Story 21. John Oliver. Fighting injustice with intelligence, creativity, and humor. He seems always eager to help people with the immense amount of power he has been given. He always takes his work seriously but never takes himself seriously. Story 22. Adam Sandler, the guy, has a net worth of hundreds of millions of dollars, but he still remains humble and loyal to his wife, family, and friends. He is just a stand-up guy, which in Hollywood is a rare trait. Story 23. Julie Andrews has been my role model since forever. She has had such a long, graceful career without any scandals or drama. I work with kids at a music school, and whenever they ask about following their dreams, I tell them about how Julie went from a working-class background to becoming Mary Poppins. Plus, she is still active in her 80s, which just shows you are never too old to keep doing what you love. Story 24. This might seem like an out-of-left-field answer, but I think that Miley Cyrus is a good role model. She just seems like a genuinely good and down-to-earth person. And she founded a non-profit organization called Happy Hippie to help lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender and homeless youth. Story 25. Groucho Marx, Adam Sandler, Brian May, and everyone else I can't think of right now. That said, I know we don't really know celebrities. These are just some of the ones I would consider a role model as far as I know. Story 26. Kelly Clarkson. I have never seen her speak to someone badly. She is so positive and she makes the celebrities comfortable on her show. I love her interviews. They are so wholesome. Story 27. LeVar Burton. You may know him as the Reading Rainbow guy or Geordie LaForge from Star Trek, but he's also a big advocate for reading, access to books, and many other human rights issues, especially reading. He is also, by all accounts, a pretty cool guy. Story 28. Look, he's not squeaky clean. He had some, let's call them, interesting marital issues, but he has inspired a lot of people over his career. Story 29. You don't know because you don't know them. Some of the role model celebrities have their own public relations team. They could be total awful people but have a great brand image, which is something they pay for. Look at Dave Grohl, for example. That's why they say, never meet your heroes. Story 30. Literally any member of the Bangtan Boys, I don't know what the hate is for, but they deserve every ounce of success they have. They rose from nothing and built everything for generations of new Korean pop idols. They worked so hard and never complained. Really genuine people, to be honest. Story 31. I don't consider celebrities role models at all and suggest people try that. My role models were my dad, mom, granddads, grandmothers, uncles and aunties, teachers, sports coaches, authors, and academics. Story 32. The boys of BTS, especially RM, seem to be very decent men with their heads screwed on right. I know one of them got into a drink driving scandal recently. He was actually on a motorized kick scooter, but in my opinion, it was really minor since nobody got hurt. Otherwise, I think they make good role models. Story 33. Jamila Jamil, Ted Danson, Jonathan Van Ness, and previously mentioned Brennan Lee Mulligan. Nobody's perfect, but they all seem like genuine and compassionate people who care about more than just fame. Story 34. Antoine Dupont, currently one of the most popular rugby players, is ridiculously skilled at the game and is a phenomenal athlete. Besides that, he has spoken out against homophobia, which I think is important because rugby is often riddled with it. To have the best player in the world speak out against it, not afraid of being cancelled, is awesome. I also play rugby, so obviously I'd want to play like him, and he's also exceptionally good looking. Story 35. None, we don't really know any of them, and there's always scandals and bad behavior being brought to the public's attention. We need to stop looking up to them for everything. We can still admire the things we do know about them, like their talent, but leave it at that. Story 36. Despite all the negativity and physical abuse that current and past players have thrown her way, she responds professionally and has even been gracious. How she conducts herself makes it really hard for people not to like her. Story 37. Robin Williams. He had plenty of his own struggles, but by all appearances, treated everyone else well despite how he felt about himself. He would have it in his contracts that the studio would have to hire local homeless people when they filmed. Story 38. If you want to get any interesting or surprising answers, questions like this on Reddit should say, besides Keanu Reeves, Dolly Parton, and Mr. Rogers. And negative questions about celebrities should include, besides James Corden, Jared Leto, and Tom Cruise. Story 39. Chris Hadfield. I don't know if he's a celebrity, but it's relative. He's a celebrity to me. In 4th grade, our teacher asked which celebrity we wanted to meet. Everyone said their favorite Nickelodeon or Disney Channel stars. I said Chris Hadfield, and of course nobody had a clue who that was. Story 40. Do they have to be alive? Can I choose someone like Ernie Coombs, Fred Rogers, Steve Irwin, or Bob Ross? If they have to be alive, I'm taking LeVar Burton or Sir Patrick Stewart, or his great friend Sir Ian McKellen. Story 41. None. Celebrities are playing a role to sell products and should not be looked up to unless you think being a walking advertisement for hire is somehow admirable. Dolly Parton's class of people are good people and role models that just happen to be celebrities. Story 42. I had no idea so many people love Dolly Parton. My pick would have been Keanu Reeves, but I'm really curious about what makes people choose Dolly. I don't know a whole lot about her. Story 43. Lucas Grabeel, who played Ryan Evans from High School Musical. My wife, roommate, and I were having dinner at this Mediterranean place in Los Angeles, and we saw him sitting across the restaurant with his girlfriend. We bought him a shot, he noticed us, and then he bought all three of us a shot back, and we took them together. He was so nice and gave great life advice. He told us to never give up on our dreams. Best celebrity encounter ever. Story 44. Rick Moranis. He turned being tiny and ultra-nerdy, which was a disadvantage at the time, into an asset. He created many childhood classics, then took his money and retired to live a normal life with his family. No strange Hollywood drama, no nepotism, none of that nonsense. Just a good guy who left the limelight to be a good dad. Story 45. Almost none fans and the celebrity make the mistake that because they are famous for their ability to play a sport, act, or sing or play an instrument, they must be a role model as a human being when really the only role model they might be is for the reason they are a celebrity. The other problem is that they all have an image, which is another word for facade. The image is carefully contrived but almost always fake. Look at Ellen DeGeneres, how the whole sweet, kind woman was just a facade. And really, the star system, the process people go through to be famous, is also very corrupting and fake. Who knows, maybe Ellen was nice in the past, but her celebrity corrupted her. She thought she was above everyone and was paranoid about keeping her celebrity. And so many other celebrities like Bill Cosby were so fake. He was a horror show, the complete opposite of the dad image he cultivated on The Cosby Show. The only celebrity I can think of who is the real deal is Fred Rogers. When you testify in Congress and sound exactly the same as you do on TV, then he seems like the real deal. He made moves and spoke out in other ways that went against his shows and financial interests.